We have State Senator Shevrin Jones from the state of Florida. He's on the line. Senator Shevrin Jones. First of all, good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. You just got out of committee meeting. There's a video that we tried to play earlier. We're going to try to play it again.
And I'm sure that same thing goes for others. Isabel Wilkerson says something in her book, and she says that just because you do not fix an old house does not mean that the things that are going in that house will not come up later. Yes, we were not born then. Yes, you might not work, you weren't a part of what happened then, but that does not preclude us from being able to sit and have the tough conversations of what happened. No, we must talk about that blacks were oppressed, blacks were beaten, blacks were lynched, blacks were called inhumane names. If we could also talk about our transgender community, we could talk about gays, we could talk about all of this. These are issues that young people, yes, they might not be taught in the classroom, but by censoring inside our educational institutions is not the way that we as a body should be moving. And I get it. This is part one of what the governor is trying to lay out. But I believe personally as a body, we are much better than this. We are much better than what the national popular politics is taking place. And all of this is red meat that's taking place. That all it is, and I'm going to be honest with you, Senator Diaz, I got a great deal of respect for you, and you know that all this is going to create more divisive nature here within our political structure that we have here in the state of Florida. Not only am I voting no, but my ask is that my colleagues who I serve with, that we check ourselves to ensure that other people on the other side, and I'm talking about when you look at this as me, representing the African-American community, the only black man here on education, this is a problem.
Tell us what's going on in the state of Florida and why it is that you're having to speak out so fervently in this moment.
Yeah, first of all, it's good to see all of you again here this morning. Just yesterday in the Education Committee, the Republicans put forth a bill to ban the use of critical race theory, and also within our classrooms and also within the workplace. But also within that bill, they intertwined some language in there about how teachers should teach health to students and life skills. And let's be clear, I think all of us are aware that one, critical race theory is not even taught inside the classrooms. And as I shared yesterday in committee, as I shared in debate, that this is nothing but the whitewashing of history to make whites feel comfortable when it comes to talking about what happened in the past. And I want to be extremely clear about one thing, that if we are, as a country, if we continue going down this route of trying to placate what history actually is and to make it be something that it's not, we're going to constantly see the division that we're seeing, not only in Congress, but all the way across the country. And the fact that Florida and other states across this country is following down this rabbit hole of doing away with, I'm not calling it critical race theory, doing away with Black history, I think they're going to continue to see an uprising of Blacks who are going to speak out about this very thing and what they're doing across in these state legislatures.
So what exactly are what exactly is Florida and the representation suggesting that they do to fight this, making whites having discomfort in schools?
Well, let's be clear about something, that what we're seeing, there has not been one teacher, one student, one parent who has come forth to the state of Florida to say that their child had been taught anything dealing with the critical race theory. I was taught critical race theory when I was in my master's program, and that was hard as hell, just understanding the concept then. So I know good and well that there are no teachers who have enough knowledge, and not trying to insult anyone, but I'm talking about to be able to convey it to a child, to what critical race theory is. So right now, what the state of Florida is doing is Governor DeSantis, he has this national political agenda that he's pushing that has nothing to do with the 22 million people within the state of Florida. When we should be talking about the rising rent costs, when we should be talking about the raging COVID cases that we have, when we should be talking about our nasty waters that we have here in the state of Florida, we're doing everything else to totally distract from the true issue that are facing everyday Floridians.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, because here they are. I remember we just went over and covering critical race theory and how everybody's so up in arms about it, instead of discussing how, people don't have access to the vaccine. These are important points. And so here they are making something else where they're pushing something to make. Meanwhile, we are in schools, growing up, and we had to get Black history watered down like nobody's business. That's why in this recent holiday with MLK, we've had to say, you know what, hey, you're not going to just quote that one quote. You need to read the whole speech type of thing when it came to MLK, because that's what we were taught. But now, in this particular moment, it's uncomfortable for white people to see their history. This is also a part of their history. This is what your ancestors and folks. Yeah, it definitely is. So I think, what other states with Florida are partnering in with this?
There are 11 states total, and I don't know all of the states.
But we know Texas and Georgia are right around the corner. We know that.
Right. Yeah, no. Well, I do know Texas have passed a similar type of legislation. I think we're going to continue seeing it. And this is not it for Florida, because this was only part one of the Stop Woke Act that Governor DeSantis has proposed. This was the workplace and this classroom one. But then there's another bill that's coming out next week or week after that censors teachers and allows parents to sue. Listen to this. Allows parents to sue the school district if they find out that their child has been taught critical race theory.
Brother Mac and DJ Exclusive, you guys get in here, but this is the part for me. It is the deputization. It's almost like the governors of these states are trying to deputize the citizenry to go and be vigilantes, even if it's just rhetorical language. But these parents are going to go. Some of them won't even have students at these schools, but they are going to go and harass these teachers for a national political agenda, like you said, Senator Jones. Please talk about that.
Well, you know what, Benjamin, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, right now, this is just a continuation from the rhetoric from Donald Trump when he was in office, and they're continuing down the same talking points that he was doing. Remember, the executive order that the former president did, it outlined critical race theory, DEI training, why these things shouldn't be taught in any government-led agencies or even within our schools. And you hit the nail on the head. A lot of these parents who are in these school board meetings, some of them don't even have children. Some of them are really just riding the wave of national politics. And even the parents who are coming to school board meetings, they know good and well that their teacher in that school, they are not teaching anything about Black history. Let's start there. They're along critical race theory, because a lot of these schools are honestly predominantly white schools. So please show me the teacher who's teaching critical race theory in your school.
Come on.
Dr. Mack?
Well, Senator Jones, first of all, thank you so much for your fight here. And the videotape, the clip that we showed where you were talking about how important it is to get it right, I certainly appreciate it, and I appreciate your efforts today. Now, one of the things I would dare say is when Queen Azor asked, what are the other states? You said correctly so that there are 11 states. I also want to remind you that there were 11 states that seceded from the Union and formed the Confederacy over the issue of slavery. So I would dare say that if you go look at which states they are, don't be surprised when you find that it is those 11 states. Now, second of all,
Shondo.
Yeah, right now, I felt that in my spirit.
Wow. School us, Dr. Mack.
Okay. He's a living Google.
So second of all, the Queen evoked the name of Dr. King, because that is one of the people that they're using to explain their position against, as you said, and so aptly, we shouldn't call it critical race theory. Let's call it the teaching of Black history. That's what they're opposed to. And so when they talk about Dr. King, they always go to that one sentence from his 1963 I Have a Dream speech. Let's not judge my children on the color of their skin, but the content of their character. Well, what we need to also remind them of is what King said in 1947 when he was a student at Morehouse College, when he said this, and it so applies to the education. Let's call it critical race theory right now. When Dr. King said that the education, the purpose of education is to save a man from the morass of propaganda. So we were talking about this earlier. Think about what he said. The purpose of education is to save a man from the morass of propaganda. Well, what is morass? Morass is a state of confusion. See, America wants to be, to try these leaders, DeSantis and the likes, they want to create a sense of confusion about what really happened versus telling the truth about what happened. That is what they're most afraid of. And they're using the propaganda. So again, it's the beauty of Dr. King.